Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you to the Wealth Strategies Leadership Group Leadership Webinar for this evening. And we've got a lot of good information here tonight. And our main presenter will be our wonderful President CEO, Walt Lusk. And he usually has a timely quote. And this one's by Zig Ziglar, who, as many of you know, has been in the insurance industry and had a lot of amazing records on his own. And he's also sort of a modern day philosopher. So bringing that information and a bunch of really good thoughts on how to get your brain in gear and have your mind positioned correctly for what we're about to do as a company and what's going on in our country right now with the aging population and the lack of insurance agents and all kinds of stuff. We are positioned right now like very few times in history for a real opportunity for people who are taking part in our industry. So with that, I would like to bring on Mr. Walt Lusk.
Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. Happy last Tuesday of the month. We're going to be diving in here to August. And, of course, Zig Ziglar is a great motivator. People often say that motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend you do it every day, and you do it daily. And along those lines, another quote I like, which comes to mind, is Zig Ziglar, since we had this one last week as well, a quote from Zig Ziglar last week was, in order to get what I want, I have to help enough people get what they want. And along those lines, that's what we're kind of talking about tonight, is what can you do right now? I know it's summer and things are getting a little challenging, to enrich your immediate future and probably the folks you're going to talk to. And there's three things you can do right now. And we're trying to think of a mantra for what we're doing. And the one I've come up with, and we're kind of toying with it, is enrich your financial future. So along those lines, we're going to talk about that. First and foremost is really truly your warm market. And why in the heck do you want to go back to your warm market? And the reason is actually twofold. One is the living benefits, which I'm going to touch on in a real second here. And second is, if you're new to, which we all are, to WSLG, is you've got a presentation you need to practice. And everybody's open-minded enough to have you be their, quote, guinea pig and practice with them. So call them and get their opinion of your presentation. I'm going to give you a real important key here in a moment of what to present them, if nothing else, in addition to this. So only 1% of every insurance policy in the United States right now has all of these benefits. And American National has them automatically in our signature series in terms of the IUL. And of course, the first one is if you become chronically ill, they pay a benefit. I'm going to read from the brochure. So the chronic illness is, if eligible, if unable to perform 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, which we all know is bathing, continence, dressing, eating, toiletering, and or transferring, or is cognitively impaired, it is unrestricted cash benefit. So whatever their death benefit is actually what they have available for chronic illness, which is pretty amazing because it's kind of a, in the long run, it's a little long-term care issue policy as well, and address that issue. Second, of course, is critically ill. Now, depending upon the state, because California is weird, it's different, experiences a critical illness described in the rider. 16 covered illnesses in most states, 13 in California. And so if they get that, they, again, receive benefit. Nobody knows what's going to happen and when lightning's going to strike, and it's obviously best to, be prepared. Third is terminal illness. Depending upon a state, it's 12 or 24 months of having a life expectancy of 12 or 24 months, you receive the terminal illness benefit. Now, one of the IMOs I was working with a while back gave a story of a surgeon who spent a lot of money, it was about $900,000 on buying an IUL. And 4 months into the policy, he called to cancel it. And the agent, of course, was a little bit concerned and said, well, what the heck are you doing and why are you canceling it? And he says, well, I have a terminal illness and it's just come up and I need the money now. And as a result of enlightening the client on the last thing you want to do is cancel your life insurance, for goodness sakes, and the fact that you can have more than you put in from a life insurance perspective, tax-free. He obviously kept the insurance and benefited highly from it, and it was actually American National policy, of course, and that's the story that's been bouncing around. Obviously, death's very expensive, and I always love the adage way back that, the older you get, the fact you're not going to need life insurance. I've never known anyone to turn down not only a life insurance benefit check, but every single other person as a result of death is coming to that estate with a bill. We are the only ones that are walking in with a check of benefit that's tax-free. And lastly, of course, of the living benefits of what the policy does, which is what we're talking about in terms of retirement and college planning, of course, is having some cash, and if you put enough in it and keep it, tax-free income. So these are benefits, living benefits that most people don't think about. All they think about life insurance is actually death insurance. Now, when you talk about chronic illness, this is a statistic from last year, 2017. 92% of all seniors have at least one chronic disease, and 77% of them have at least two. Senior is defined as somebody a little older than 65 years old. So again, this is a benefit that more people are going to be in a position to need than you think. And obviously, all of us are really guilty about pre-qualifying our clients, right, and our prospects. Oh, they're not going to need it. They don't want it. They're not going to be interested. You know what? Get the no. I found out that if you call somebody and you get a no, you're exactly where you were before. You don't have anybody to talk to. But that yes just might make a big difference, right? And you have to remember that, so I've been in the business since the mid-'80s and saw the whole thing with the career agency, which is, in a sense, what we're doing in an indirect sense, has really gone by the wayside. Prudential has way less agents. Everybody, Metropolitan, New York Life, et cetera, all these big guys have fewer agents today. And there's really, as much as they've tried to pass the mantle from one agent to the next, it really hasn't materialized well. And there really are fewer life insurance agents in the United States today than there ever has been at any other time. There's a bigger need, not only because of the fact that seniors are getting chronic disease and need the benefits, but obviously the transfer of wealth from mom and dad to us baby boomers, because mom and dad have got a lot of assets. So one of the things you're going to practice and talk to them about is the 4 money myths. And this is actually a video, and I can send you the slides we can for that. And the first is the rule of 72. I promise you, 9 out of 9 people don't understand compounding interest, and it actually works for us as well as against us, as you know. If you're earning 7.2%, your money will double in 10 years. If you're earning 1%, it will double in 72 years. And I always I don't finish that sentence. I let them finish it so they are more involved in listening and go, 72 years, my goodness, that's too long. And but if they're having an interest rate of 7%, for example, in their mortgage, that means that their mortgage is going to double in 10 years as well. So as Albert Einstein, as we all know, said, it was the 8th wonder of the world. Taxable versus non-taxable. Basically, that is the seed versus the crop. And if you haven't heard that story, it's pretty simple. Draw a seed and I put $1,000 in it, and the tax man comes by and wants to tax you on it, and you say, hey man, I just bought this seed. I've changed careers. I'm a new farmer. I don't have the money. Can you come back later? And of course, the tax man says, absolutely. So a little while later, 9 months or so, they comes back, and you've got this ginormous crop of corn. And you're sitting on your porch just going, man, it worked. The weather was right. The water was right. The seeds were great. And who's smiling bigger? Of course, the tax man. He's going to tax that crop versus the seed, which of course is taxable versus non-taxable. Then we have, and people don't really realize this, how long does it take to get back even what you lost in a market crash? If you've lost 50%, how much do you have to earn to get your money back? And of course, the answer is 100. I actually put a little trip on that. I'm going to elaborate it. I sit down with somebody and say, hey, let's save $100, and the market falls on average of 40%. So now you're 40% less rich, which means you have $60,000 in your savings account, bank account, retirement account, market account, and for some reason you need $10,000. You know, fix a hot water heater, hole in the roof, grandkid needs money, you need a new car, whatever. So now you've got hit twice. You've pulled $10,000 out of this fund that is for a rainy day, and all of a sudden it's a rainy day, and you're at the low point, and you need the money, and now it has to work twice as hard to get back. And the question is, now you have $50,000. How hard does it have to work? And of course, the answer is 100%. I promise you, 8 out of 10 clients, 4 out of 5, do not know the answer. And as a result, it makes them think, well, it's going to take 6-7 years for it to bounce back. You have that much time, let alone if you need the money again between there, you're kind of sunk. In 08, when people retired, as you guys know, or tried to retire at that point because it was late in the year in September, they had to wait 6 years, 7 years before they had their money back to retire. That is a long time when you're mentally ready to cash in your chips and retire. And then, of course, the mutual fund, the S&P 500 index, we talked about that graph and following the yellow brick road and doing it on a tax-favored basis in the index strategy. So those are the 4 money myths, and anything else, people would love to learn that. Our second, we talked about last week, is parents and grandparents. Seriously, sit down and find 30 parents and grandparents that you know to practice and approach all these amazing benefits and things that we can help them with, in addition to talking to schools, which is our next one. Number 3 is begin to approach schools. Now, I have this in print, and a line that I've found to be very effective is we educate parents on a better way to pay for college, increase their ability to get and qualify for more financial aid, all at no cost. And then, of course, as we all know, there's challenges with the 529 plan. It's not deductible in most states. It's only 34. Actually, they receive over 22% less financial aid in it as a result of it, kind of the giveth and taketh away, risk and fees, of course. And a lot of people don't know that private universities, in many instances, are cheaper than public colleges. Then, of course, if you sit down with 30 of your warm market, parents, grandparents, you're going to get, I promise you, and these are conservative numbers, 15 appointments. Yeah, come on over, I'll listen, right? I'll give you my opinion. Everybody's got one, right? And if you close only half of those, you're close to making 8 sales. And our average premium, as we talk about, is $500 a month, $6,000 a year of target, which is $48,000 in premium. And therefore, you've got a $25,000 check coming to you in a pretty short order when all that stuff's underwritten in a quick order, because we use an e-app. And how would you like going into September knowing you got $25,000 either in your bank or coming in your bank because you actually did what you were not only expected to do, supposed to do, but what successful people do. Successful people do what unsuccessful people won't do, so they have the success that successful people deserve and earn. And on top of that, obviously, you'd be close to earning a 1/16th ownership in WSLG, which means you are now earning in 2 ways, which is on your own pen, and you're getting a percentage of the whole company and the profit of the whole company all over the United States. And of course, if you sit down with an agent, say, hey, this is really simple, it's really duplicatable, and it's very profitable. You got yourself an agent, and as Kelly talked about on Monday, for those who are on that call, between 5 and 7 agents, you're well into 6 figures of override income. So it's really not that complicated in what it's about. So again, I really hope this motivates you guys to, when you're in the shower bathing and doing that you realize that, hey man, you know what, I'm going to make a couple calls today. Just make 2-3 calls. You make 2 or 3 calls, you're going to get at least a few appointments, and you'll feel better for yourself, and you'll impact everybody else's and enrich those folks' financial future and enrich your own. So
Awesome.
the brochure that you can get, obviously, from American National, they have one, the Signature Guaranteed Life. It goes through it pretty quickly on one page in terms of the accelerated benefits, all 4 of them. And there you go.
Well, and Walt, I want to talk just a little bit about the system that we've got. I know we've got some new people here from other IMOs or some we've been we've been bringing on a fair amount of people that have been captive with agencies lately, and I won't be mentioning any names, but it's some of them that are fairly well-known national companies. And one of the things that is driving people is, well, this is the way we used to do it, or you should do it this way, or you should do it that way. And I guess what I want to say is we have a niche that I have never seen anybody else have. College funding is not new. The way we do it is completely new, and how it helps out families is completely new. I don't believe there's anybody else in our immediate market niche, and I don't think there will be for quite a while, because it's a little bit counterintuitive. And so what I want to do is kind of bring out a couple of points, and you sort of have touched on them. Point number one is, we're at a time when there are fewer agents needing to serve more people, transferring more wealth than at any time in history. And
Absolutely.
boy, I tell you what, if that's not a wind tunnel, I don't know what is.
Absolutely.
And so I would like to encourage you, no matter who you are and no matter where you're from, no matter how they do it in your state, and no matter what your experience is, we've got a system here that works well. And what you need to do is just become completely pliable and coachable, because I will tell you this, we've seen it before, and really the conditions are just exactly right right now, and they will be for a couple of years, where we've got baby boomers retiring at 10,000 every day, and the amount
Yep,
of money
that's
that
absolutely true.
will be transferred is absolutely incredible. Last I heard, which was before the market started going up, somewhere north of $40 trillion. And so you can put your own numbers on what that is. The markets have gone up significantly, so that number is going to be significantly larger than $40 trillion. And so it'd be nice to find out some new numbers on that. If any of you have any, I'd be open to hearing them, so we can get them out to the regular group. But ladies and gentlemen, you have a leader here in Walt Lusk, who has vision, who has a skill set that very few people have, and he can teach you with that skill set on these leadership webinars and other places. Some of you are lucky enough to be in California, where you can get nose to nose with Mr. Lusk. And it's what a great way to transfer that information. But here is the little golden gem. Any effort that you put in now, especially if you're willing to throw aside some of your old ideas about how it used to be done or how you think it needs to be done, and just become completely pliable and very coachable with all of the wonderful stuff that Walt is throwing our way, you have a chance to capitalize and plant some of those seeds right now that will turn into an amazing crop of financial return, and will be legacy building, actually, because of the way we do business. And Walt, could you just talk a little bit about some of the benefits of actually building an agency, and what that can mean to you and your legacy down the road? And everybody wants to write on their own pen, and that's wonderful, and we suggest that. And but what the actual benefit of building an agency along with that will be.
Well, a lot of people go, well, I don't want to babysit guys. Well, you know what? The point is, on that, I match energy with energy. If I make a few phone calls and you don't call me back, then you know what? Shame on you. So it's not as difficult as you may think, because if they're interested and they're motivated, it is, in my view, it's actually fun. So I wouldn't worry about going down that road. It's no big deal. But just finding a few folks, you get some camaraderie, and it's actually easier, in my view, to do that, because of the fact that you're actually impacting other folks. And I don't know of any IMO that offers you ownership in any way, shape, or form. I mean, these guys want to keep all of it and keep it for themselves. I know of one IMO I heard of, Guy was in his early 50s and had been doing this for about 25 years, and he just cashed out. He's done, and he's going to go travel the world. You think he's worried about money now? No. Why? Because he helped a lot of other people, but he didn't impact, not even in the guys that are working in that office, with ownership. He's got the keys to the kingdom, and we are offering it in an amazing, amazing way. And if you can find 5 people, and the thing is, they don't have to be in your backyard. They can be anywhere in the country. Maybe you know somebody in another state. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking of something to do, and I'm looking at this financial stuff, and you know what? We can train them. We are going to start doing webinars on how to do a presentation, how to approach a school, how to sit down and actually present what we're talking about in a closing situation, what to do, what to say, so that you have all the tools that you need and are very armed and quite dangerous. And we're not just hi, here's your stuff, knock yourself out, and call us next week and let us know how it went. No, we're here to help you and work with you. We're not going to give you a handout, but we're going to give you a hand up to get there, because we want folks to join us. It's lonely at the top, and there's gobs of room.
And one of the wonderful things is, I don't know how you're feeling today. How is your health? Go look in the mirror. Yeah, I look pretty good. I look pretty good today. What's the percentage of seniors that have a chronic condition?
Well, just one is 92%.
Just one is 92%. So
92% have one chronic illness.
And you're getting a little bit older every day. And so maybe you're not a senior. Maybe you're only in your 50s. Maybe you're only in your 40s. Well, son of a gun, start looking up those statistics. And I guess I just want to say we have a wonderful opportunity to create not only immediate income. You write some policies and you can get some pretty nice money really quick, and American National pays so quickly. It's what a benefit. But like an attorney, like a doctor, like most people that are in a solo profession, what happens if you get sick and you can't work? Well, you're unemployed and your income dribbles down. Insurance people have a little bit of neat stuff going on. They can get some trails if they've been doing it for a while, but it's nothing like your income was. And so building an agency, helping those agents, and your agency can go across the country. You don't have to be in your own town or in your own state. You can have other agents in other places. We've got a system. We can help make sure that the information that the clients get is uniform. We can help make sure that the information that the agents get is uniform. We're doing it right now over webinars. And that agency that you've built, because of the override potential you can have, is an insurance agent's insurance policy that can keep your income going in the time, if you, God forbid, you get in a car wreck or something like that, and suddenly your income needs go up and your income in actuality is dwindling. And if you've got an agency built, those people are doing well.
They're still earning, and you're still getting a piece of the action, just because you may need to take a month off because maybe there's a death in the family, or you need to take your daughter to college, or you are in a car accident. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. Or you say, you know what, I just need a break. I'm burnt. You know what? You have other people that are working on their behalf and your behalf, and you still have income coming in. This chronic illness, I can't tell you how many people don't have long-term care because it's expensive, and baby boomers are getting older, and these companies are reducing benefit. It's a guaranteed renewable, but it's not. That doesn't mean they're going to renew the policy, but that doesn't mean they're going to keep the benefit the same. They can reduce the policy at the premium, or you pay more. So why not have your retirement money, your life insurance money, your college money doing triple duty and providing benefits for stuff that may happen, and it's all a tax-free benefit. And you know what? If you never use it, you're not paying for it. It's not like you're buying a separate policy for something. It's all there. And for one of the benefits for the terminal, not the terminal, one of them was the maximum was $2 million. the maximum death benefit available on acceleration is up to $2 million. So, just because you've got a $500,000 policy doesn't mean you're short-circuiting yourself within a percentage of it. There, in many instances, it's there for you now in the event that something happens. And these hoops you got to jump through to qualify, as you can know, it's no different and no challenging than anybody else.
Hey, Walt.
Yes.
Can I make a comment here real quick?
Certainly.
Folks, I'm going to tie all this into college planning. I'm going to tell you the reason we're having this conversation tonight. I'm sure some of the people listening to this tonight have heard about a company called A.L. Williams. I'm going to share a little insight on how we ended up with Universal Life products in the insurance industry, how it went from Universal Life to Index Universal Life. And I'm going to share the timing of where we're at right now. Back in 1977, a company called A.L. Williams started their network marketing company, and they came out with the concept, buy term, invest the difference. Well, back in 1977 and prior to that, the vast majority of life insurance that was written on the books was whole life underperforming insurance. It was old whole life policies. They didn't have anything like they have today. The indexes performing at 6-7% a year, nothing like that. They were old whole life policies. So Art Williams comes out with the concept, buy term, invest the difference. In other words, instead of wasting your money on a whole life policy, you can get a much higher death benefit. In addition to that, you take the difference between what you're spending and invest it. So in 14 years, and folks, they were in the business of rolling other insurance policies. They would go into clients' house and say, let me see your existing policy. Let me see what type of policy, whole life, what kind of face amount you have. And they would show them by taking the same amount of money or less how they could increase the death benefit and invest the difference, or take the same amount of money and increase the death benefit hugely. Well, literally in 14 years, they sold 10 million term policies. Now I'm going to share a shocker with you. They rolled 1 million whole life prudential policies. They rolled 1 million whole life prudential policies. So let's talk about timing and how this applies to college planning. Folks, only 1% of the life insurance in force today, I've been told, has living benefits. Well, when you can have living benefits in the event of a heart attack, stroke, cancer, you become disabled, end up in a nursing home and access that benefit when you're alive. See, 60% of the bankruptcies filed in America, I've heard it because of a medical illness, and I've heard about 50% of the people that file that medical insurance time of their medical illness that they end up filing bankruptcy. Their insurance just never got the job done. Well, folks, if only 1% of the existing life insurance has living benefits, everybody on the street's a potential candidate for this. Every single person that owns life insurance, 99% of the life insurance in force, they're a potential candidate for what we have to offer our products. Index Universal Life living benefits. So that's step number one. Okay, step number two, anybody that has kids in grade school, junior high, any parents, any grandparents. You heard Craig and Walt talking about high net worth seniors. You heard them talk about wealth transfer. Do you realize that all these people have kids, grandkids? Some have great grandkids. They're a candidate, folks. They are a candidate for college funding for their grandkids. Let me tell you a story really fast. We have an agent in Buffalo, New York, and it looks like he's going to close a case. Okay, he specialized in the Medicare market, and he had a client of his that was a high net worth senior. he went to her and explained our college funding program. Well, it looks like he's going to write 2 life insurance policies on her kids. Each one of her kids have 2 kids themselves. So it looks like he's going to write at least 6 life apps. It looks like the smallest target coming out of this case looks like it may be in the 60,000 a year target range, maybe as high as 120,000 target. So I want you to think about this. He goes to someone that he sold the meds up to, shows him college funding, and here he's going to get a giant case out of the deal. Well, guess what? The next thing he's going to go to her with, he's going to find out where she has her money invested and explain the concept of indexed annuities. So, folks, you've got 3 different markets to put your fishing line in. Number one, when 99% of the life insurance doesn't have living benefits, you should be talking to every single person you know, asking them if you can just look at their life policy, give them a free quote, and see if they're getting what they should be getting, what they're paying for. Okay, number 2, anybody in your warm market that has kids in grade school, junior high, you should be approaching them about college funding. Any senior citizens that have kids and have grandkids, great grandkids, folks, I can promise you this: if a senior citizen has the financial wherewithal and they understand what these concepts can do for their grandkids, they'll be a willing participant. Any parents that have kids in grade school, junior high, any grandparents that have grandkids, grade school, junior high, or great grandkids, a potential candidate. Well, now when you talk to the senior about college funding, guess what else you can ask them? You can say, oh, by the way, who do you have your investments with? You have your money in CDs in the financial markets. So, folks, there's 3 different ways to get leads out of this. Okay, the 4th way to get leads at the same time you're doing all 3 of them, you can be going to schools, opening the doors, scheduling seminars in September. Okay, what I'm going to tell you right now, I firmly believe if you would do what I just told you, you couldn't help but make $250,000 a year plus. Okay, I'm going to put a disclaimer. There's no guarantee you're going to make anything. What you make is going to be in direct proportion to your work ethic, your desire, your skill set, your abilities. But if you can't make $250,000 a year plus doing just what I'm telling you, you need to go to a doctor and have your head checked. Just something's wrong. When 99% of the existing insurance does not have living benefits, I think that's a crime. If people understood living benefits, I think they'd want to have it on their life insurance. Think all the people you know that have kids in grade school, junior high. Think all the grandparents you know that have grandkids in grade school, junior high. And when you're doing business with grandpa, grandma, that opens up annuity business. And at the same time you're doing all this, you're going to school scheduling seminars. Folks, if you would use all 4 of these tactics, you would have more leads than you could ever work, and you'd make more money than you could ever spend. I'll close on this. That's what 1%ers do. So you know the only decision you have to make, do you want to be average and ordinary, live in mediocrity? Do you want to be a 6-figure earner, or do you want to be do you want to become a 1%er, the top 1% in this country, become a multimillionaire and be able to provide for your family the way you should and could provide, be able to do things with charities like your church, whatever the charity it is you believe in. That's a mindset. Once you have the mindset, once you decide that you're going to become somebody, you're going to become a 1%er, then guess what? Action will follow that. But you got to have the mindset and attitude first. Back to you, Walt.
Well, yes, because it all begins with a decision. Thanks, Kelly. That was great stuff. You know, I wanted to comment on something Greg said. I wasn't going to, but in terms of a window of opportunity, I just got an email yesterday from an IMO I worked with 12 years ago. and they're now branching out in college funding. So it's getting a little bit of attraction and awareness. They're doing it. They have anywhere between $720 and $6,500 is what they charge to sit down and help them write the essays and do the marketing and fill out the FAFSA form and all that jazz. And they'll even take 40% of your commission if they go out and make the sale. So we're helping you do all that for free, and giving you ownership on top of it. So Kelly's right. This is really a fabulous way, which is one of the major reasons why I got involved in the first place, to generate other business without, everybody, my retirement is special. Really? Well, let's talk about college. Well, that's different. Okay. And then as a result of that, you're able to backdoor it and you slip up and sell them more. Anybody else want to do that? Call me. I'll go write it. I'm licensed in more than one state. So just wanted to wish you guys a fabulous evening. I know August is going to be a great month for us. We're here to help you get whatever you get done to enrich your financial future as well as your clients. So thanks for listening and watching, and God bless.